guys, this is Codizzle Allen, and today we're going to do a tutorial video, the first I've ever done, on how to create TikTok videos out of your native 1920 by 1080p videos. Because obviously we know if you're on TikTok, or if you've watched TikTok, everything is in a different video format. It's not that 1920 by 1080. And so you can do all of these steps on pretty much any free software that exists out there. Hitfilms Express is going to be the one that I personally am going to be using today. I use Hitfilms Pro, but all the pieces are the exact same, and pretty much mirrored across all the other platforms as well. DaVinci, all of those. So definitely go find which one you like more, or if you're already using one, just these steps can typically all be mimicked pretty simply. So what we're going to do here to start out is I'm going to hit new composition here. And then, so right here is where the biggest part, at least to start out, is. What we're going to do, we're going to change this. So right now these things are linked. So I'm going to unlink it. And then this is going to be 1080. It's basically the opposite because we're going from landscape to portrait mode. So 1080 by 1920. Everything else pretty much can stay the same. Okay, and now watch what happens when you start this up. As you can see, the canvas, the workable area, what is going to be recorded is on that vertical portrait mode. Now, what we're going to do here is now find the media that we want to import. So for me, I have it already ready to go. I'm going to throw it down in here. It's very simple. You can do your trim stuff. All of this stuff is basic video editing that you can do if you're interested in finding a little more about those details. Hitfilms actually has a long list of tutorial things you can actually work with. And this was just one that I felt like wasn't abundantly or readily available as easily. I figured, hey, I'll give it a shot. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull this over. Now, here's the issue. Here's where I think some people might fall a little bit behind, because this is going to pop up because the video I'm importing is the 1920 by 1080. And so now it's going to ask you, would you like to adjust your editor sequence settings to match the clip? We do not, because then that's going to change this back to the 1920 by 1080 instead of the 1080 by 1920. So here, hit no, even though the instinct is to hit yes. Now what I do here, because you can use this and drag, but the problem is it's very difficult to get the sizing back to the correct, so where you're not over width or elongated. So what I do here is, while on this, I go to controls. And then from here, go to transform. And what you can do, because these two are linked, you can just drag this up. That way it's covering more of the screen. You can have it cover the entire screen and pretty much have that, just that very center point. Or you can, if you have, and I'm going to show you what I do with my TikToks and then show you how to handle that, because I think that's important in this instance as well. So what I do is I usually go about 150. So what I do is, and then I can change the position. I usually use these because I can adjust these pretty well. So what I do here, so that's basically the gist of getting the video to the same sequence that you like in the TikTok. Now what I do here is, because as you can tell, I have the camera down at the bottom right. Obviously I didn't want that in the screen. That's why you see it where it's at. That's why my face is not there, but I still want my face to be a part of it because I feel like it's a brand that I've created. I want people to recognize me. And so what I've done is, what you'll do here is you'll see this is my face here. I want this in there, but it's a little more complicated than just, you know, being able to zoom in and have it up here. You have to actually create another video here. Now with this video, you want to drag this right here. Now here's the tough part. Here's where time consuming, and I'm going to show you some shortcuts after you've done this the first time. But this is what I do. So you can scroll in here. Now what we're going to use here is a masking tool. So this right here is the masking tool, Freehand Mask. What we're going to do is we're going to basically outline this entire thing with this. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to speed it through here so that way you guys don't have to sit here and wait, but you can see kind of the gist of it. So now what you see here is I've done the masking, and all of a sudden you saw the video around it just disappear. So that's actually what you want to see happen. Now all that exists is this mask. Okay. I mean, you can undo the mask at any moment. You can come down here to control and come down here to the mask and then undo the mask, and you see the video is back. Or you can redo the mask and the video is gone. So this is how I basically create two videos of the same composition, and one is the mask and one isn't. So now I'm going to click on this here. I'm going to click here so that I'm dragging this photo. I mean, so now you see it's just my camera with the frame around it. So now you would go place this where you want. Obviously, you're going to mess around with the scale and everything like that. So you want it a little bit bigger. Now, there we go. Now, that's pretty simple. And as you see, what's going to happen is this is going to go, this is the exact video that I have.
I'm going to drink some water.
Is that you?
Nobody's throwing shit at us.
So it goes with everything. And so what you're going to want to do, obviously, you don't want to have double the audio, and everything else can stay the same. So you can just undo that or mute that, or you can drag this down and not have that volume down to 0. So that's not doubling up the audio there. So that's basic. That's the basic principle. Obviously, all the other things like the trimming and anything else you want, I think there are some definitely advanced video editing things you can look up and go through and whatnot. But this is the simplest that I've I wanted to make it right here. Now I told you I wanted to simplify your future projects. Now what I would do if I'm in your shoes. And this is what I do to try to make sure I don't have to go through that entire time of masking this same frame over and over and over with every TikTok I make, if that's the game plan you have, is save this as, you could say template. Save as template. Mask template. So now what we can do is we can exit out of this. That's saved. And now we're going to pull up Hitfilms again. Okay. And we can exit these out. Hitfilms Pro. So mask template. This is where you would go to make all your TikTok video edits. And so hit that. You can open that up. And what you're going to do here, and you're going to pull in any new footage that you want. These are no longer relevant. You could take this out because it's not the video you want in there. But you can go over here, import any video. So let's say I have let's give you guys a nice little trimmed video. Pull that in there. As you can tell, it's a different video entirely. It's a completely different video because I have a different format or the video settings here. So what you can do here is pull this into the project here. And if you want to add the same masking effect to this, what you're going to do is you're going to click on the initial composition that you have the masking set up to. You're going to go to controls. You're going to go to mask. You can right click and then copy. Now click on the composition you want the mask to be on, and go to that same place, mask, right click mask, and then you can hit paste. And now, as you can see, you have that already trimmed. Simple way to do it. And then that way you don't have to constantly go through that masking process. Now, the other piece that you're going to want to think about here is the exporting process. Because if you go to just generic export and you said start exporting and you do it that way, 9 times out of 10, it's set to this YouTube 1080 HD. The problem with that is the native preset, it automatically adjusts it back to the 1920 by 1080, even though you've already changed it in the initial composition creation. So you have to export it correctly as well. So what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to hit this export tab here. And then you're going to want to do presets. And then you're going to want to create a new preset. And then MP4, obviously, if that's the way you're going to be exporting. Now here is where it gets slightly confusing. And this is where I want to make sure you're able to be able to do this. You don't want to do from source, because from source is again going to be the clips that you've input instead of the actual project settings. So, and let me do this slowly here for you one more time. This is going to export tab here. And then you're going to want to do presets, which is this tab here right beside Q. And then you're going to want to hit new preset, MP4. All right. And then you're back on this screen. You're going to want to uncheck these boxes. Well, the frame rate you can keep. And then you're going to want to unlink this again. And then you're going to do 1080 by 1920. And then that way it exports it the way you want it to export it. Otherwise, you export it back in that landscaping format, and that's not what you want. And last but not least, you go ahead and hit OK. And when you go to your export, what you're going to want to do, obviously, if you've named it something different, you can name it obviously whatever you want. This is I'll name it TikTok. And as you can see, it's got the resolution 1080 by 1920. So that way you have an idea. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to come to Q. And you're going to want to add this to Q for content. So however you want to do that, I'm sure you've figured this out by now. This drop-down box right here, you're going to want to change that to the TikTok out. So that way it actually exports it the way that you want it to, so that it's going to be set up for that TikTok resolution. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Hey, who knows? Maybe I'll do more tutorials. This is my first one. Let me know how I did down in the comments. If you have any questions about any of these pieces, or would like me to elaborate on anything, I know this can sometimes feel overwhelming. It's just a step-by-step. Once you learn one thing, you can learn the next thing, and you'll get there. Just keep pushing through, keep grinding, keep creating that content, and you know, we'll get to the top of this mountain together, guys. Thanks so much.